State, Your Excellency, the Deputy Governor of Kaduna State, the Honorable Minister of Information and Supervising Minister of Defense, and the person and character of Dr. Labaran Maku, the Speaker, Kaduna State House of Assembly, and other members of the Kaduna State House of Assembly here present, the Chairman of the People's Democratic Party here in Kaduna State, the Secretary to the Kaduna State Government, the Acting Head of Service, members of the Kaduna State Executive Council here present, special advisors, local government council chairman here present, permanent secretaries, representatives of the various stakeholders and interest groups here present, members of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. You're welcome to Kaduna State, the cradle of civilization in northern Nigeria. In the last 3 days, the National Good Governance Media Tour team has been in Kaduna State under the distinguished leadership of the Honorable Minister of Information and Supervising Minister of Defense, Dr. Labaran Maku. The team comprises federal government officials, journalists from various media organizations, and members of civil society groups, together with officials of the Kaduna State government. Key federal and state government development projects are being inspected across the 3 senatorial zones throughout the state. I have no doubt in my mind that the tour will offer journalists an opportunity to assess firsthand the implementation of development projects being executed by both federal government and state governments in the state. Will you please join me as we welcome, by putting our hands together, the Honorable Minister of Information and his team to the peaceful part of this country, Kaduna State. In order to provide an opportunity for the general public to meet with the team and offer their opinions on the strategies that will help government implement its development programs, a town hall meeting has been scheduled in each of the states visited by the team, and Kaduna State is no exception. With the kind permission of His Excellency the Executive Governor of Kaduna State, therefore, we would like to welcome you all to this town hall meeting. I enjoin you to relax as I now invite the Zonal Federal Director of Information to conduct the proceedings of this session. Once more, you are welcome, and God bless Nigeria.
And give us a goodwill message. Mohamed Garba. Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Kaduna State, very peaceful, engaging and educative, though strenuous and stressful. Since on Saturday when we commenced this tour to date, we had the privilege of inspecting quite a number of projects at both state and federal level. And I hope Your Excellency will have the privilege of inspecting some local government projects as the tour continue after this forum. Though most of the projects we have inspected, with few exceptions, were conceived by past leaders, we however observed that concerted efforts were made and serious commitment by our present leaders to ensure either maintenance or to improve and to some extent to secure some of these projects that has already been conceived by our past leaders. I am particularly happy, Your Excellency, with the strategy adopted by you to inculcate the culture of continuity in your administration. by way of identifying some of these projects, complete some of these projects, and where necessary, to modify the projects which you have inherited by your predecessors. We inspected here in Kaduna, for instance, quite a number of roads. We started from the southern Kaduna, the Kwai, Dora, Indofa network programs, and the famous Force Bridge, which we inspected among the other road networks. And I want to say that our assessment of these roads is that these roads are of high quality and standards, and we want to believe that this is a very good effort in order to ensure accessibility of the various community that are within this area. We also saw the Kaduna State University, established in 2014, fast growing. We saw the massive ongoing rehabilitation and construction of infrastructure at the two campuses. We were also briefed about the increment of the enrollment of students, as well as the establishment of new and more faculties and courses to meet the increasing demand of student intake into our university. Your Excellency, our only appeal here is that we should not relent. University education, as we can see, is very, very expensive. Therefore, we want to appeal that we continue to provide funds for the sustenance of this important university. The proposed Kaduna State Millennium City, that is supposed to house about the 300 hospital projects and the mortgage, finance, housing estate, and other proposed infrastructure within the city, is indeed a laudable program and initiative. I would like to also use this forum, Your Excellency, to appeal that you should facilitate the immediate takeoff of this city, which I was made to understand that was conceived since in 2007. The new Government House Office Complex, based on our assessment, Your Excellency, appears to be one of the best edifices in this part of the country. It is well designed, with befitting infrastructure and conducive atmosphere. We will therefore like to use this opportunity to also commend our Vice President, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Architect Namadi Sambo, who conceived this project. It is also pertinent, I believe, to also commend the effort of His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Kaduna State, for ensuring the completion of this very, very important project. I want to believe that this project has tallied and it has made the standard of Kaduna State at the center of the northern Nigeria. I therefore want to commend you most sincerely, Your Excellency. Therefore, I would like to commend His Excellency for his commitment and determination to better the lives of the people of Kaduna State. We can understand that, Your Excellency, you have just reconstituted your cabinet as part of your strategy to roll out new projects and programs that will further add value to the lives of the people of this state. One area which I would like to draw the attention of His Excellency for immediate intervention is on primary and secondary education. This involves rehabilitation and construction of structures and classrooms, training, as well as the provision of infrastructural materials. I want to also thank you most sincerely for all the effort you are putting to ensure that democracy strive in Kaduna State. For the federal government project we have so far inspected, let me say that we are indeed happy with the number of viable and inspiring projects of the federal government in Kaduna State. The Gurara Dam project, which has 3 components: hydropower and irrigation and water, conceived in 2002, is quite fascinating. We saw the link of this hydropower project, which is proposed to be completed based on the brief we received in 2014, to Kudenda electricity project. This is a very, very good project. I would like to also commend the federal government for sustaining this project to achieve the present status. And this, I believe, the federal government will do efforts impossible to ensure that this project is completed according to the briefs in 2014. Of all the projects, federal government projects that we have visited, the Jererel track project is the most appealing to me. This is one project that is going on schedule. It was conceived, as you are aware, in 2010, to facilitate movement from Abuja to Kaduna in less than 1 hour. We were made to understand that 70% of this project has already been achieved, and this progress, we are able to achieve this progress based on the intervention of the 41% federal government subsidy share in the subsidiary investment program. So I want to also use this opportunity to ensure Nigerians, probably as a member of the subsidiary investment committee, that we are doing everything possible to ensure that the federal government 41% share is fully utilized for the benefit of Nigerians. We saw the new structure put in place at NDA from 2007 when the academy moved to the new site. We are also at the psychiatric hospital, the Kaduna State Refinery, and the National Air Center. Your Excellency, it is pertinent at this point to acknowledge here and applaud the intervention of the Central Bank of Nigeria and the TED Fund in providing quality infrastructure in our universities and other tertiary institutions. I would like to mention here the over 11 billion naira construction of the Center for Excellence at the NDA and the multipurpose hall by the TED Fund. This, I want to believe, are all laudable programs that is worthwhile commenting. In all, Your Excellency, let me say that I'm indeed happy with the level of progress achieved in this democracy. I'm happy that democracy is moving in this country despite all the challenges. I would also like to mention here that the media that has fought seriously to ensure that we have this democracy in place must not relent in ensuring that we sustain this democracy. I would also like to use this opportunity to most sincerely thank His Excellency, our Honorable Minister, for initiating this laudable program of the Good Governance Tour. I want to believe that this platform will provide Nigerians the opportunity to appreciate some of the progress that has been achieved by the present administration. For us in the media, I want to thank you for providing us the opportunity to discharge our social responsibility of informing and educating Nigerians about what is happening in the country. With these few remarks, I want to once more thank His Excellency and members of the Good Governance Tour and the members of the Good Governance Tour, the local organizing committee, for all the courtesies they have extended to us. My prayer and hope is that as we continue the Good Governance Tour today, it will continue to be peaceful and educating. Thank you very much.
Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Kaduna State, Your Excellency, the Deputy Governor, Your Excellency, the Honorable Minister of Information and Supervising Minister of Defense. Let me also stand on the system protocol. Your Excellencies, in the last 4 days, the Good Governance Tour team has had the opportunity to see and to illustrate various projects of federal and state governments. We were at Gurara Dam, Nigerian Defense Academy, Kaduna Polytechnic, the Railway Bridge, the Naval Training School, Air Care Center, power plant at Kudenda, Eastern Bypass Road, and also a host of other projects that belongs to federal government. Also inspected projects of the state government, most especially the ongoing projects at the Kaduna State University in the 2 campuses here in Kaduna and Kafanchan, well-constructed 4th bridge, various road projects within Kaduna metropolis and even outside the city, the government house projects, and a host of other projects. I want to say that the essence of this Good Governance Tour is to actually know whether Nigerians are benefiting from this democratic process. And I want to say that with every standard, we will know that truly democracy is working perfectly in Nigeria. And I want to say this because the resources that have been committed into some of these projects are so enormous. For example, a visit to the Nigerian Defense Academy will make every Nigerian to be very assured that the defense of this country, the security of this country is very, very paramount in the heart of the federal government. Not even for today, even for future. And also, we have been able to observe that in the area of transportation, mass transportation, what the federal government is doing, particularly in the area of the railway system, is so gratifying. These are people-oriented projects. These are projects that every Nigerian will surely benefit. The Gurara Dam, I want to believe that if well executed, is going to be of benefit to every Nigerian, most importantly to the people in northern part of this country. But I want to pay special attention to what we saw at the refinery, which has contributed positively to the development of this country, particularly now that the refineries in Kaduna are working. And according to the information available to us, that refinery is now producing about 2 million liters of petrol per day. This is highly commendable, and I think we should commend the federal government on this because it's going to reduce the level of importation of petroleum products and also will eventually bring down the cost of petroleum products in this country. I think we should commend the federal government for this. At the state level, there is no doubt that we have a government that is responsible very well in Kaduna State, because those projects that we have seen, particularly the Fourth Bridge, the developmental projects in the university campuses here in Kaduna and Kafanchan, are thoroughly executed, and the road network in Kaduna is making Kaduna to maintain its leadership among the states in the northern part of this country. Of note also is the housing project. We visited that of Kaduna yesterday, and we are told that similar projects are ongoing in Kafanchan area. We know that in a way, as one of the biggest cities in this country, Kaduna is being a little bit expensive in terms of housing, because many people, workers may not be able to afford the cost of rent here. And for a government to have it in mind that it should provide accommodation for workers and even middle-level officers is highly commendable. I want to appreciate His Excellency for this. Your Excellency, sir, there is one thing that I want to call your attention to, and that is the area of the media. In the hotel, I was struggling with the television to receive the signals of Kaduna State Television, and I've observed that that television is off air. Your Excellency, I want you to do everything possible to revive that station, and even the Capital Television too. I want you to do everything. These are the stations that will project your image. These are the organizations, even after you have left the office, will be the one to sustain your legacy. And I think it is very, very important for you to look into that direction, sir. Also, I want to plead with you. There is one thing that the Honorable Minister of Information fought for us in the media. We call it the weighing allowance. That is the only allowance that media workers receive to show for this kind of job that they are doing. Already it has been implemented in Katsina, it has been implemented in Jigawa, and about 15 other states. So, Sir, Your Excellency, I'm appealing to you in this regard to please help us to implement it here in Kaduna State. By and large, Your Excellency, we want to appeal to you to remain focused and make sure that we move this state forward. Finally, to the federal government, and particularly to the Honorable Minister of Information. Well, to some people, you are a controversial figure. But I know that what you are doing today, posterity will judge. I say this because if not for this singular effort of bringing media men to various projects in the country, you see, in Nigeria, we have not been able to separate between politics and governance. To ordinary politicians, the president is not doing anything. But to what you have made us to see throughout this country, I think the present president of this country has performed wonderfully well, and I think we should appreciate him. Once again, I want to thank you. God bless you.
To please come forward and make her comments and observations. Mrs. Grace Golit.
Thank you, sir. My name is Mrs. Grace Golit, representative of the National President, National Council of Women's Societies, Mrs. Nkechi Imba. Your Excellency, the Executive Governor, Honorable Minister of Information and Supervising Minister of Defense, other VIPs here present, ladies and gentlemen. Our experience in the course of the National Good Governance Tour of Kaduna State has unveiled the great achievement recorded by President Goodluck Jonathan's transformation agenda. The Kaduna State government, under the able, dynamic, and resilient leadership of our Executive Governor, Alhaji Dr. Mukhtar Ramalan Yero, must be commended for sustaining the peace. In no particular order, let me say that we saw investors' appetite for the Nigerian market at the Northern Nodules Company Limited, and a host of others. 2. A revolution in mental health care at the Federal Neuropsychiatric Hospital, Barnawa. 3. The Kaduna Refining and Petrochemical Company Limited is once again producing and aiming at 30% of total hydrocarbon production in Nigeria. 4. The Palm Value Chain Project at Kagarko aims to turn around our fortune in palm products for the better. 5. The Kudenda Thermal Power Plant aims to complement effort of providing steady power supply in Nigeria. Here we appreciate the Honorable Minister's concern that the pace of work must be increased to meet the deadline. Number 6, the construction of roads and flood remedy bridge by the Kaduna State government at Ungwaromi is commendable among so many other government projects. We hope local government projects will experience a boost in the near future. Let us discourage strikes in our schools. Let us promote the education of our children, especially the girl child. Let us give more women a chance in governance like our president. Let us, women, give 100% to our husbands like our First Lady, Dame Patient Jonathan. Finally, let us support the transformation agenda of Mr. President for a better Nigeria. Thank you.
Be that when I came in here, I saw the face of a very beautiful governor. Very beautiful. Very beautiful governor. If you move around the states of our country, I think on a lighter note, if we decide today to do pageant parade, the governor of this state will certainly, and he's a gentleman. Seriously, I'm a skeptic until recently of the Good Governance Program. And when my very good friend and comrade invited me to get on the tour of Kaduna State, I was extremely skeptical of the Good Governance Program. But I've come, I've seen some of the pluses, I've seen also some of the minuses. But I think more fundamentally, for some of us that sit in our offices, to argue that Nigeria is in a deep governance crisis, it's important we move around our country and see what government is doing. On the basis of our assessment, we can begin to critique the government and possibly applaud the government as well. Kaduna State is a very beautiful state, but I must talk about the minus. With a very beautiful governor, but it's also a very dirty state. I've gone around the state capital. Everywhere you go, you find refuse dumps. Somebody must be responsible for this. And I enjoin the governor of this state to do something about it. The government must be the representative of the people. From what we saw yesterday at the new Millennium City, I was impressed with the architecture of the hospital I saw there. For some of us that understand the architecture of the General Hospital, the government of this state has moved away from the General Hospital architecture to the modern architecture of the modern hospitals that you find in metro capitals across the world. And that's a big plus to the governor. And the Millennium City is an open city. You know, it's not backed by fences. You know, it's like houses you find in our villages. You can stroll from one backyard of a house into the backyard of another. And I must salute those who designed the open city. I don't call it a Millennium City. The open city in the way that they did. It's good, it's brilliant, and I applaud them for that. But I must also implore the governor. Civil servants are the bedrock of government anywhere. I implore him to ensure that that city is opened in no distant time, so that those houses that have been built for the low-income civil servant in our state can have houses to live, for houses to live in. And for some of us that are critical of the government, if you move around our country today, huge transformation is going on. Transformation, particularly in the power sector. I visited the Gurara Dam, and what I saw, the design is extremely brilliant. Those who are handling the project there took into recognition the natural environment, and the dam was built in recognition of the rocks and the hills, and it's beautiful. For some of us that are poor and watch CCTV and you see the beautiful sceneries the Chinese television present, we have something like that in our country. But like I always say, whatever opinion we have about this government, it's important we move around our country and see what the government is doing. And we also employ the information management structure of the government. I must say, I'm very critical of them. They are not reaching out to our people. They are not telling our people what this government is doing. It's not imperative for our people to keep moving around our country. It's the responsibility of the managers of information to tell our Nigerian people what this government is doing. And finally, sir, if you look around the hall, two important demographics are not represented here: the Nigerian youth and Nigerian women. For a beautiful governor who is seeking the mandate of the people, I will employ you, sir, that next time when we're organizing an occasion like this, we should mobilize women. Because when it gets to the polls sometime in 2015, the Nigerian man will promise you, when he gets into the booth, he will not vote for you. But the Nigerian woman, if he gives you her word, we keep to it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Your Excellency, the Executive Governor of Kaduna State, His Deputy, and our Honorable Minister of Information, all other protocol duly observed. My name is Remain Comrade Ali Abacha. I am the President of Coalition of Civil Society, Transparency and Good Governance. Really, I have to commend the people of Kaduna State since our arrival last Saturday. We have been received by the Secretary of the Government, took us around some of the areas under the federal government, state government, and the local government. The following day, the Deputy Governor of the state to receive us, and we have been taken around. And finally, yesterday, the Executive Governor's people took over from his duty, along the entourage of the National Good Government will go around. I must confess to you, that's why our organization called Transparency and the Good Governance. Really, we have seen some of the good projects was put in place by the state government, federal government, and the state government. The initiative of this organization came on being by the Minister of Information and the National Planning. This is a good initiative so that the movement will bring the notice of what the governors are doing to the citizens. You know now, the area that we went around, where they have done well in their constructions, we commend them. And there are some areas that they are not performing well, then we come to their attention to stop for the activities. So that to show that the government is working. We really commend the people of Kaduna State and way and manner we have been received. So that's why we are coming up with our own position, what we actually saw here in the state, and make our comments so that the government could work for the people. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ali Abacha. Your Excellencies, permit me once again to now invite
my dear leader, the Honorable Minister, and please permit me to stand on the existing protocol. I want to, first of all, in a public, appreciate the effort of my leader, late Solomon La, and observe maybe 2 seconds silence. May his soul rest in perfect peace. Your Excellency, I think I will align with the standing commendation and briefly go to advice. Having seen your effort in peacekeeping and your effort in continuity in projects, Going through the states in this few period, we saw a place and a community where flood victims were furious about their emoluments or what was supposed to be given to them. I think the chief of staff were there during a very beautiful interaction. Your Excellency, I want to plead that the government should draw their serious attention on the issues of the flood victims along the bank of River Kaduna and advise the government to go into internal dredging to assist flood or prevent flooding in future. Again, during the course of this talk, there was no serious agricultural program, and even through the program given to us, nowhere that agriculture was really emphasized. And this is the bedrock of the nation that is ready to be serious. Your Excellency, my colleague mentioned about youth participation in this program, and I want to equally advise that there is no serious program on youth empowerment. Going through the programs, and when our youth are allowed to be on the street without a serious youth empowerment program, we breed those that will be responsible for insurgents. Your Excellency, please, I advise that let there be a deliberate and serious program for youth empowerment in these states. Again, after traveling through this few period, I want to advise my fellow civil society outside there, those that are being used by detractors of government. Instead of celebrating projects and discussing projects, people are discussing politics, even when it is not time for them to discuss politics. I think your achievement so far is as a result of your calmness and not throwing yourself into unnecessary argument. Because we have traveled around this country and we saw some governors that are governors of billboards and signboards. But again, we can point at 1, 2, 3, 4 things that is being done in Kaduna State. I want to advise those that are overheating the politics. APC, PDP, new PDP, old PDP, that is not what we need in Nigeria now. I advise the government to bring in some of these people fighting to come and join us on this good governance tour, and they'll see for themselves things we saw in NDA, in NMPC, in Kaduna State University, where almost everywhere is over construction. Your Excellency, at this point in time, I want to thank you so much for your calmness and for you being focused. And I appreciate my minister for availing me this opportunity to know better what is happening in Nigeria and to equally tell the world that not as we think, but join us on the good governance tour and equally report some of the good things they are doing, even while a lot are begging for attention. Thank you very much.
Governor of Kaduna State and his cabinet, the Honorable Minister of Information, the NGGT group, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen. I have comments to make and observations. Firstly, may I commend the government of Kaduna State for executing developmental projects. Now, I want to talk on the road networks in Kaduna. I mean on the old settlements like Tudunwada, Malali, Tudunupa and others. I mean the road networks within those axes. Why I'm saying this is that the rail transportation from Abuja to Kaduna will soon commence, and it will take less than 1 hour to travel from Kaduna to Abuja. That will mean that there will be influx of people in Kaduna because of the proximity of Kaduna to Abuja, and there is the need for the government to assist or to direct their local governments to oversee how these roads can be rehabilitated. Now, 2, my predecessors have talked on women and youth. Mine, I'm going to emphasize on the women. For long, we have signed the affirmative action that 30% women representative will be allotted in all states and local governments. Your Excellency, sir, from the data before me, Kaduna State is not represented, women are not represented affirmatively. I will implore His Excellency to appoint more women in his cabinet. I know that there are women of intellectuals in Kaduna State, diligent, that can work for human services. Thank you very much.
Your Excellencies, the Governor and Deputy Governor, Honorable Minister, all other protocols duly observed. It's my pleasure to be here this morning. And this is the 21st state that the National Good Governance Tour is visiting. And at this point, it's important perhaps to take stock and look back at some of the other states that we've been and some of the projects that we've seen. And one of the things that struck me most on the first day of this tour in Kaduna State was the word connections. We were able to make connections with some of the big projects that we had seen in the FCT, for instance. When we went to the Gurara Dam, some of us recalled that we had been to the Lower Usma Dam at the FCT, which was a major project for provision of water, and we had been told that some of the water to be used or processed at the Lower Usuma Dam would be coming from the Gurara Dam, and it was wonderful to come here and actually see the Gurara Dam for ourselves. And as some of my co-speakers have noted earlier, the Gurara Dam is this vision of heaven right here in Kaduna State. It reminded me of a saying that some people like to say that on a clear day you can see forever. It was a wonderful, beautiful scenery for hydropower generation, 30 megawatts, a pilot irrigation project, which of course will engage a lot of people in the local communities, potential for fisheries, which is always great because we're trying to promote agriculture, and tourism potential, which I'm hoping will be developed to the fullest. There was also connections made at the rail track project at Jere, because that actually connects with the rail project that we had seen also at the FCT. 70% completion, the largest bridge in the Nigerian railway system, I think we were told, due for completion 2014. And in the 21st century, this is really the way that we need to be going in Nigeria, where people in Abuja, for instance, people working in Abuja can live in Kaduna, live in the open air with the chickens walking about in the compound, good quality of life. We don't all have to cram ourselves into the bustling metropolis. You can commute in and out from Abuja into Kaduna on a daily basis in 45 minutes, no more than an hour. And this is great for planning. And what these two projects have demonstrated is that Mr. President's transformation agenda is an overarching vision that touches every part of this country. You can make connections between projects at the FCT, in Aba, with projects in Kaduna, and you can see one vision which connects all of them. We also went to the oil palm nursery, which I think is a state project. It was encouraging because in that place, 82,000 seedlings have been raised in 3 facilities, 392 youths targeted. One of the co-speakers has talked about the need for more youth targeted projects, but this I think perhaps was one. And also it's a project that confounds expectations because we do not normally think
that perhaps oil palm could be produced in the northern part of Nigeria. So this was a wonderful confounding of that stereotype. And also, it's a promotion of agriculture, which is really one of the thrusts of this administration. And there's also the subsidy for those who partake in that project. And we really look forward to that coming, to having more impact in this environment. Some of my co-speakers have talked about the Nigerian Defense Academy, but I would just like to make mention of one point, really. I think we were told there that with the security challenges that we have in the Federation, we have to adjust to the new normal. At the Nigerian Defense Academy, we saw with our own eyes how the federal government is working to help us not just adjust to the new normal, but to surmount the new normals. And the cadets, the female cadets, there have been talk here about women. Well, I think that is one of the great stories of this administration, the fact that the first female cadets were admitted into the Nigerian Defense Academy in 2011, and we now have about 300 training there, and this country has produced its first female combatant pilot in Flying Officer Blessing Liman. And gone are the days when women were just spoken of as victims in conflict situations or as spoils of war in conflict situations. The female cadets that we have at the Nigerian Defense Academy, who are performing very well, some of them performing better than their male counterparts, are demonstrating that in every level of Nigerian society, the Nigerian woman can contribute her quota, even to the security of this country. And so that was a very inspirational place for us to visit. And also, Kaduna State, it's wonderful to come here and to have peace reigning in this state. That also has confounded some of the stereotype and the expectations. And we pray that this will continue. Thank you all very much.
The Governor of Kaduna State, Alhaji Ramalan Yero, Your Excellency, the Deputy Governor of Kaduna State, the Honorable Speaker, Kaduna State House of Assembly, members of Kaduna State Executive Council, particularly my incoming brother, the Commissioner for Information, Mr. Dominic Bako, the Secretary to the State Government Special Advisors, the Chief of Staff, His Excellency the Governor, members of Kaduna State House of Assembly, the National President of NUJ, who is also a triple president because the president of all West African journalists and is also the president of African journalists, Malam Mohamed Garba, the national president of Ratau, the national president of NCWS, the representatives of civil society organizations that are attending the tour of Kaduna, the representatives of media organizations, print, electronic, and social media who are on this tour, the chairman of PDP in Kaduna State and the chairman of other political parties who are attending this citizens forum, the elders of Kaduna State, distinguished citizens of Kaduna, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Before I proceed, if I have the permit of His Excellency, I would like us to stand up for a minute silence for the former governor of this state, with whom we plotted this together. I'm talking of Sir Patrick Yakowa of blessed memory. May his gentle soul rest in perfect peace. Amen. You may be seated. Your Excellency, we are delighted to be in Kaduna, particularly Kaduna City, a city of history for all northerners. Kaduna is special in the north because Kaduna unites all northerners from Makurdi to Maiduguri, from Lokoja to Kebbi. All of us see this city as our city. We see Kaduna as our political capital because a lot of the developments in northern Nigeria was plotted here in this city, particularly with the formation of the northern region. So each time we come to Kaduna, we come with fond memories. Younger ones like us, memories of our parents who are always looking up to Kaduna for direction, for development. Whether it is in agriculture or education or social services, Kaduna used to be the center of gravity of northern Nigeria. And that is why each time we are here, we must speak to the northern region as a whole. Although this tour is specifically to Kaduna State, but because of the importance and significance of Kaduna, we are going to speak to Kaduna as a whole. But before I proceed, I want to call on Mr. Kingsley Osadolo, who led the tour on the first day, to give us his own impressions of what happened on the first day. I couldn't come because I was doing some programs, particularly attending the memorial service of the late Solomon Daushep Lar, one of the great leaders of this country and the pioneer chairman of the People's Democratic Party. So Kingsley will come for the first 5 or so minutes to give us his impression of the day on the first tour. Then I will come in to crown it up. I thank you very much. Yes, Mr. Osadolo. Mr. Osadolo is my SA Media and former Commissioner for Information at Edo State, and used to be the editor of Sunday Guardian.
Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't think that my principal was going to ask me to provide my impressions on the first day of our tour, which commenced on Saturday, and which he asked me to lead in company of the President of the NUJ. By and large, the speakers before now had given a succinct summary of our impressions, and I would only therefore like, with the kind permission of my principal, to proceed and then make my own observations. In doing so, let me quickly respond to the comments made by the gentleman who accompanied us on the tour for the first time. What the tour has brought about is a treasure trove of information wherever we have visited, and Kaduna State is no exception. And the evidence that we have before us is that governments are working. State governments are working, the federal government is also working. And what we have seen here in Kaduna is that the Kaduna State government is indeed working. The gentleman also indicated that he would like to see the federal information machinery revitalized, the federal information machinery more up and doing. Perhaps this is an opportunity for us to quickly respond and say that the idea of the Good Governance Tour is part of the strategic work plan designed by the Honorable Minister of Information in 2011 in synchronization with the transformation agenda of Mr. President. The Good Governance Tour is the field work of the ministerial platform, which is also the very first of its kind in this country. The premier edition took place last year, and the second edition took place this year. And what we have found in the course of the ministerial platform is that there is no government in this country that has been as elaborately documented as the administration of President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. On all major platforms, traditional, new, and social media, whatever information you are looking for, you can access it even while you are in this hall, provided, of course, you have access to a smartphone. And I think that this is one of the things that we have tried to do in the Federal Ministry of Information. And as my principal would always say, the unfortunate thing is that attention is focused perennially on politics rather than on governance. If you have a newspaper in front of you today, what are the leading headlines that you see? Perhaps one of the most misleading headlines is that the Jonathan administration is not serious about anti-corruption. We have come to Kaduna State. We visited the Kaduna Refining and Petrochemical Company Limited. For any person who knows the history of that company and the embarrassment that we had suffered as a nation when turnaround maintenance led, in fact and indeed, to nothing being turned around, to a situation where we now have a company that is running and supplying fuel not just to Kaduna but to the northern part of the country. The key to this is that the corruption that was always embedded in the running of the Kaduna refinery has been overcome. And yet we say the president is not serious about fighting corruption. For many years, fertilizer was a scam in this country. And under the agricultural transformation agenda, the fertilizer mafia has been put out of business. And you say the government is not serious about fighting corruption. I think that our focus should be on those facts, on those issues that will enhance and ennoble us as a people. It is part of this misinformation that is probably responsible for the crisis that we are seeing today in our tertiary institutions, namely the ASUU strike. In the course of our tour, not only in Kaduna State, but throughout the other 20 states before we got here, the evidence abounds that the federal government, through TED Fund or the CBN, and in the case of Kaduna, the TED Fund, the CBN, and NDIC, the federal government is investing heavily in tertiary education, particularly in universities. I think that coming home now to Kaduna, where we are at the moment, we've seen, of course, quite some focus in terms of infrastructure. We've seen focus also in terms of agriculture. It was misleading to hear that Kaduna State government was not focusing on agriculture. I'm happy that the Special Assistant of Mr. President on Documentation did refer to our visit to Kubacha, which is the oil nursery palm that the Kaduna State government is seeking to plug in on the agenda for oil palm production. Kaduna, of course, has been identified as one of the 24 states in the Federation that will produce palm oil for this country, and going through the entire value chain, upstream and downstream, and a lot of jobs, of course, will be created in this process. I would like to urge the Kaduna State government to follow up expeditiously the potentials that lie in Gurara Dam. Tourism is there, irrigated and mechanized commercial agriculture opportunities are also there. When we visited the dam, which was of course our first port of call, I did refer to what we had seen in Katsina, where earlier this year the Jibia Dam produced in the course of the dry season farming 2012 to 2013 472 million naira to the farmers in that vicinity. I think that the opportunities are even more immense here in Kaduna State, and Kaduna State government should take advantage of the opportunity that arises from that dam project. Two quick points. When we were in Ungwa Romi, I saw some new development projects. It's not focusing crucially on the setbacks. The buildings are too close to the fences. and then you ask yourself, how much airflow do you have around these structures? Second point is the new Patrick Yakowa Road that opens up the expressway to get in from Abuja into Kaduna. I had remarked that I thought it was a mistake to allow traffic from that area to pour into the GRA, but the governor, of course, explained yesterday. The issue about that expressway almost immediately is that you will begin to see encroachment onto the expressway because, again, the setbacks have not been observed either on the right or on the left. Otherwise, my impressions are quite positive about Kaduna State, and I do wish them the very best. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sadilov. Now, let me now say that, like I said, we're in Kaduna State, and we're going to speak not just to the people of Kaduna. We'll be taking the opportunity of our presence in Kaduna to speak to all the people of the old northern region. First, we are happy to be here, and we want to particularly begin by congratulating the Vice President, Architect Mohammed Namadi Sambo, because as we go through Kaduna, we see his footprints. As an architect, he has a great vision. When you see it in the government house, you see the design of the specialist hospital, which Mahmoud Aminu had earlier commented on. My friend Barrister Mahmoud Aminu had earlier commented on. We believe that the VP had and still has a good vision for Kaduna, and having been the governor that started this dispensation, his footprints are very clearly here, and we commend him. We will also want to commend the state governor, because one thing that is standing him out is that there is clear continuity of programs, and continuity is very, very, very important. So we have seen him commit himself to complete the government house, to complete the hospital, the specialist hospital, which is a PPP arrangement. And I can tell the people of Kaduna that already we have approved the money from the ADP to complete that hospital. And I'm sure that when that is facilitated, the hospital will be completed. We have seen the new housing estate for civil servants, which people have already discussed. We have then seen the Patrick Yakowa Road, which was started by the late Patrick Yakowa, and the big bridge on that road, the Fort Bridge. It's a well-built road. And so we are going around Kaduna to see a number of the infrastructure. We have not completed the tour yet. Tomorrow we are going to Zaria, where we are going to see the Zaria multi-purpose water scheme, which is being done by the state government in partnership with the federal government to ensure that water reaches over 1 million people, in that part of the state. So we want to commend, starting with McCarthy up to now, there has been, if you look at what democracy has done in Kaduna State in the last 10, 13 years, you must admit, look at the road infrastructure was started by McCarthy administration to almost all the rural areas of the state, and also the big water projects. And I think that what has happened in these years is that each governor of Kaduna State has left, indelible imprint on the development of the state. And if democracy continues uninterrupted, you will see that everyone will have a signature in one area of development or the other. And that is the advantage that stable democracies have. That each time a leader comes, he will do something on the foundation that he inherits. And if this has continued since Sardauna, you will not recognize northern Nigeria today. The interruption between 1966 and 1999 was the sad story. And we are going to discuss more on this, because I say I want to use this occasion to speak to the north as well. Having said that, we are on this tour for one reason. There has been a denial, a political denial, that President Goodluck Jonathan is not developing the north. And there has been an agenda of deceit and propaganda, which is carried out mainly by people, political opinion in some quarters in the north, that continuously wants to deny the imprint of this administration in the north. The truth, and I want to begin with that truth, is that never since the Gowon years have we seen a federal government that is impacting significantly on the development of the North as President Goodluck Jonathan's administration. And I want to challenge anyone to a debate, to a discussion, and I'll back this up with facts. We have gone around a number of northern states. We have been to Kebbi, we have been to Zamfara, we have been to Katsina. We are now in Kaduna, the political headquarters, as it were, of the old northern region. And in all the places we have gone, the evidence is very clear, contrary to those who believe that we should be just doing partisan politics and not discussing the development of the North. The evidence is clear that the Yar'Adua-Jonathan presidency since 2007 has placed the development of the North at the uppermost part of his own attention. And this is what we have seen. Now, I want to give you some significant projects which shows that it is not only a northern president that can develop this part of the country. Because the lie is always made that if the president is from the North, then the North will be developed. It is not true. We have had so many presidents, and it is not true that only people from the North can develop this region. And at any rate, it's no longer possible for the leaders of the nation to come only from the North. Nigeria has changed. Today, the story is different. The presidency will go to every part of Nigeria, whether we like it or not. And the earlier the North recognizes this reality and plans its development, so that whoever is there, let us go with our agenda, that person will attend to us. The idea that power will reside only in one part of the country is history. It will not happen because Nigeria has changed, awareness has come. In the past, it used to be that whoever came from the North, the rest of the country was waiting on us. And we did that continuously for over 30 years, close to 40 years. We did that, and the rest of the country followed us, and they did not complain. They continuously followed us because they believe in one Nigeria. Today, it is time now, power is moving around, because democracy is like that. Because we're in a new democratic era, constitutional era, power will no longer reside in one part of the country. And I can tell you that it is not true that only somebody from your area. What the president has done, I'll give you an example. Since 1960, in fact since the 1950s, the Tafawa Balewa and Co. conceived the dredging of River Niger. The idea was to open up the North directly to the sea, to the Atlantic, so that vessels can carry goods directly to northern Nigeria, right from the Atlantic Ocean through Warri, Onitsha, right down to Baro in Niger State. That project remained in the pipeline for more than 50 years until the Yar'Adua-Jonathan presidency decided that the Niger must be dredged. It should not just be theory. And as I speak to you, the capital dredging of River Niger up to Baro has been completed. The first time it is happening in the history of this country. Now what happens is that already barges are using that, carrying goods from the Atlantic right down to Baro. It is happening now. Most of the big construction companies up north are using the river now to take goods. For example, from Nasarawa State, people are taking yam to Warri. They no longer go Baro. They travel through River Niger, through Lokoja, and carry their yam to Warri. Very cheap. That's what they are doing. Also, the construction of Loco Bridge, Oweto Loco Bridge. Most of the materials that are needed, are coming directly also from the sea, and that has brought down the cost of transportation. So, meanwhile, the Baro port is almost the Baro port in Niger State is almost ready. The Lokoja port, we have seen it, advantage of construction. The port at Onitsha completed. The port at Ogota in Imo State virtually ready. Now, this is a huge national project aimed at transforming commerce in the North, improving transportation, linking the North directly to the sea, so that we can take advantage to transport goods and services. President Yar'Adua, President Jonathan have carried this project virtually to fruition. So when people talk about development of the North, so it is not theory, it's practice. This is exactly what has happened. Now I give you a second example. Before President Jonathan came to power, the Lagos-Kano rail line broke down completely. Nobody was moving from northern Nigeria to Lagos State, the southwest by rail. And it was broken down by mainly those of us from here who are managing the Nigerian Railway Corporation. Broke down. Government since that time came from the north, from everywhere. They didn't fix it. Under the Yar'Adua Jonathan presidency, the rail line from Lagos to Kano is fixed, and our citizens are now using it to transport goods and services between the Lagos port and northern Nigeria. Sometime this year, the Minister of Transport, Senator Idris Omar, went to Lagos to launch the rail transportation of goods between Lagos and the north. So today, a number of the things happen, including the transport of refined oil before we have now fixed Kaduna Refinery, the transport of cement, the transport of heavy-duty goods, including flour, is coming from Lagos to the north by rail today as I speak to you. Several companies are also now buying their own coaches to transport goods from Lagos port to northern Nigeria. This has been done by the Yar'Adua Jonathan presidency. This is something we failed to do. Now, the northwest is a huge population area. Now, if you are to move down south only by road, those roads will never last, and that's the problem we had with our roads for almost 25 years when the rail stopped. So when people talk about development of the north, we must take note that this is not theory. It's not just raw politics. We want to see the practice of it. And I think that what the president has done for the north in this area is outstanding. Now, but I can tell you that the number one project in this country today that President Jonathan has embarked upon, I call it the number one project because in terms of capital investment, in terms of economic impact on the development of northern Nigeria, that project is the Abuja-Kaduna rail line. The Abuja-Kaduna standard rail line. By the grace of God, that rail line will be completed, and people in Kaduna and Abuja can commute by rail because it's a fast rail line. You can leave from here and be in Abuja in 1 hour 30 minutes. This the president is doing. And I invite anybody to visit what is happening on that road. We went to see the biggest bridge being constructed. I was there on the first day, but the report of the team shows clearly that the spate of work by the Chinese, for the tracks are already being laid from the Abuja end. Earthworks are virtually completed towards Kaduna, and that rail line today is virtually a reality. So when you talk about the development of the north, what do you mean? Is it not practical? It's not theory. It's not just mere politics and sloganeering. It must be clearly development that we see, we touch, we smell, we feel. So the idea that the president is not developing the north is puerile, is mainly political by those who think that if you don't come to power, then the development should stop. Now the third thing I want to emphasize, look at the fact that between independence and now, our children in the north are still out of school. 9.5 million children of northern extraction are out of school. 9.5 million. Those children that are begging in the streets of northern Nigeria, maybe that is where you have the Chinua Achebes. That's where you have the Albert Einsteins. That's where you have the great minds, because this brain is given to everybody's child. It's only the children of the elite. So when you ignore 9.5 million children on the street, those children are more than the population of several West African countries put together. And each time the president goes on any international conference, he's confronted with the fact that, look, in your country, 9.5 million children out of school. Now, we know that in this country today, primary education is exclusively the responsibility of state governments. The federal government has no duty to primary education. The duty we have is to set the rules, which we have done so. We have established again the Primary Education Commission, the Basic Education Commission, backed up by law. Since the Basic Commission was established, every year money is shared, allocated every month to state governments. And today, 50% of investment in primary education comes from the federal government. But in addition to this 50% of allocation that goes to the states, the president took a look at the situation in the north and decided that one Nigerian child out of school is the responsibility of the president. Overall, although it is not the responsibility of the federal government, but it is the father of the nation. If one child is unable to go to school in Nigeria, that child belongs to the president. that child belongs to Nigeria. It doesn't belong to the north or south or west, because the contribution of everybody's child is to national development. So the president decided, look, let me help by taking these children back from the street to school. What has he done? Under the Jonathan Sambo presidency, we decided we will build special schools for states in the north so that we can take our children from the street, put them in a modern school where they will have access to Quranic education and Western education. Today, as I speak to you, we have completed 100 standard schools in the north for the Almajiris, done by the president. The first one was commissioned in Sokoto State, and these schools are being built in all the 19 northern states, completely with hostels so that the children can stay in their classes, go to school, go back with beds and facilities. Now, this president that has done this happens to come from Bayelsa State. We have had a number of leaders across this period, but nobody made it a national problem, a national program. But this is what the president is doing today for us here in the north. And for me, to take away those 9.5 million children from northern streets to education, to modern education schools, for me, is the greatest contribution the president will make to the development of the north. So, when we are talking about this, we are talking about facts. Now, I want to take you to dam projects, because the north is agriculture. The Sadona made the north the agricultural hub of Nigeria until we discovered oil and abandoned agriculture. Now, under this presidency, he believes that the north should supply food to Nigeria. Just like Niger Delta is supplying oil, the north should supply food not only to Nigeria but to Africa, because we have the land. What are we doing in agriculture? First of all the dams that were inherited by the president, he's allocated additional money to complete them. If you go to Sabke Dam in Katsina, if you go to Jibia Dam irrigation project, we went there when we were in Katsina, and you saw what was happening there. Now, if you go to Bakulori irrigation scheme in Zamfara, if you go to Kebbi State today, in the last dry season, Kebbi State, with the support of the federal government and the vision of the state governor, because Governor Dakingari has also identified agriculture, and what we are doing together with him is to restart the Kebbi rice farms across 12 local government areas. So you can move almost from one end of Kebbi to another. In this dry season, what you see are hundreds, thousands of people on the farm, youths, everybody cultivating rice. Last year alone, cumulatively, the dry season rice production in Nigeria, coming mainly from the 10 northern states, was 1.1 million metric tons of rice in one dry season. In one dry season, cumulatively about 1,769 metric tons of rice produced last year. 1.1 million from northern states, mainly in dry season. Now, the president is doing this because we believe a lot can be achieved from northern Nigeria. We can restart our not a new beginning in agriculture, a new beginning in strategic infrastructure, a new beginning in education, particularly for basic education. So, we want to back up any argument, any purely political partisan argument, with the facts on the ground. Now, if you take a look at the other project that we have seen, and I want to come back now, to road infrastructure. If you look at what the president has done, he has inherited the Maiduguri-Kano expressway. Work is going on. Mohamed Gabra is here. He sees that virtually much of the money we are taking in today from subsidy reinvestment, taken from the partial withdrawal of subsidy, is going to that road, Maiduguri-Kano expressway. We just recently also awarded the Kano-Katsina expressway, only last week at the Federal Executive Council. The road leading from Mokwa to Bida to Ilorin, we have just awarded them. The entire stretch, from Bida through Kotigi, through Mokwa, right down to Jeba, up to Ilorin, we are rehabilitating and reconstructing the entire road. Also, the job from the road from Lori to Kaba, through to Kogi State, we are working on it. The road from Nasarawa through Oweto, right down to Otuko, we are doing so. The road from Makodi, Otuko, Ogbolafo, work is going on there. Then the road from Abuja to Lokoja to Benin, road work is going on. If you look at also the road from here through Zaria, through Katsina, through Zamfara, through Sokoto, that road is virtually completed. You can move today without any potholes along that stretch of road. All these investments have been put on ground in the last 3 years of President Jonathan's administration, working hard to keep this infrastructure going. So when we talk about development in the north, and then people go out and tell blatant lies, I am saying so because I am worried about the way our politics is developing. And I believe today, if the North looks back to our own history, you will find that consistently in the last 50 years, some of our best allies came from the Niger Delta, even in the open politics. That is how it used to be. I took my time and sat with President Shagari one day, and he gave me the brief of the long partnership that existed, between the South Side and the North, joining us in the politics, joining us in the struggle to unite Nigeria, joining us each time we ask for their support. But today, what we see is that there is a denial of the past and a denial of the present. When you deny the past, you deny the present, you will end up in tragedy. May God never allow that to happen. So the truth is, like I say, we are here to speak to the North. And I believe that if we want to really, really unite this country and move together, we must look inwards in the North and see the things we should do to develop this region. I remember in 2011, we held a conference here, all the 19 northern states, the G19. We held a conference here and we plotted the development of the North. We held an economic conference here. We brought everybody here. The intention was, yes, power will now move around, but with an agenda for the development of the North, it is quite possible for us to engage anybody in power, because that person, no matter where he is, will need our vote. And so if we act together and we plotted and we know where we are going, development will come. And within the North itself, we have huge resources. We have huge resources in the North. What is the president doing? There has been lip service to the search for oil in the North. Today, as I speak to you, the president has invested more money, more effort in looking for oil in the Lake Chad Basin, the Benue Trough. We are investing a lot of money for hydrocarbons, and we are almost getting there. The president's commitment is that if there is oil in Niger and Chad, it is possible to have oil in northern Nigeria. And the president is putting in every effort, every money that we could find to make sure that we work hard to ensure that we develop possible oil and gas fields in northern Nigeria. So if we're talking about development of the North, I think it should be, I've always said, it's not the president from my village I want, but the president that will transform my village is the one that is my president. So we need to unite this country. And we need to leave this raw partisan politics of region and religion aside, because what it has done in the past and is doing now is that it divides us. It creates problems for the country. It creates problems for the development of Nigeria. The world is looking at us. We need to move forward with greater assurance that we will continue also partners for the unity and development of Nigeria. And we can't do it with a divided polity. Yet there will be division of interest, but it should not go down to a division of enmity between us and anybody. So I believe honestly that the development of the North is uppermost today, and I must congratulate President Jonathan, Namadi Sambo, the Vice President, and all the stakeholders today who are now putting practical steps forward to do those projects that we used to dream about. Now I give Zongiro the hydropower electric project in Niger State. It was lying there since Tafa Balewa. We planned it, we will develop it, it was not done. In Kanji, when I went there on the National Good Governance Tour, even 3 power units were lying down there since Gowon completed it in 1969 to 1971. They were lying there, it's just to put turbines there and generate power. It never took place. It never took place since Gowon left. Now we are reviving those power units in Kanji. Now we are building afresh the Zongero hydroelectric project that was planned since the Fourth Republic. Jonathan has awarded it and work is going on in Niger State. So people talk about development of the North. I don't understand what they mean. Today, Mambila, which we were dreaming. Every government will come and dream and go. Every government will come and... Now Mambila will have done all the plan, and by the grace of God, the president is likely to do the groundbreaking before 2015. Mambila that will give us over 3,000 megawatts of electricity. Now, if we are talking about development of the North, what is it? What development are we talking about? It must be practical. It must be truthful. So I want to say here to all my colleagues, to His Excellency the Governor and the people of Kaduna State, that what we have today is a government that is looking at the nation as a whole. Because Jonathan, as President Jonathan, as you know him, is a very, very quiet, very, very humble, very, very focused person. Sometimes people abuse that humility. They think that humility is not strength. Now, talking about development of the North, I want to mention one thing. We went to Kogi State. What I saw at Ajakuta, I nearly wept. I wept when I went to Ajakuta, the largest steel plant in sub-Saharan Africa. What happened in Ajakuta is a story for Northerners to know. President Shehu Shagari, when he was president of this country between 1979 and 1983, President Shagari started Ajakuta. He laid the foundation stone in 1980. We were already all grown-ups. Between 1980 and 1983, Shagari built Ajakuta up to 84%. 84% was completed. The main mill was completed. The steel plant was completed. The machine tool factory was completed. The cooking gas, everything was set. It remained to develop the mines and do the rail project and link it up with Ajakuta so that Ajakuta could start. What happened? Shagari in 4 years built Ajakuta, which is located in northern Nigeria. 84% completed. The first steel plant in Black Africa. 1983, we staged a coup and overthrew him. And we said Ajakuta was not our priority. Today, Ajakuta is a sad story of what we in the North can do to our own development. If Shagari was in power by 1986, he would have commissioned Ajakuta, and the industrialization of this country would have been a different story today. So we must tell ourselves the home truth. It's not lies, it's facts. Go there and find out those facts for yourselves. So when we have a selfish motion, we will continue to talk about North. I want to see the reality of practical development of the North. I am seeing it today. And I think that we must be very sober in reflecting on our state. If we don't, the truth of the matter is that we will continue to dance on the brink. Dance on the brink. That should not be the case. By the time Jonathan came to power, Ajakuta had been handed over to the Indians. We have been in court. If President Jonathan inherited a free Ajakuta, definitely he would have started work on its completion to give Black Africa the first steel plant, to give Nigeria the first real foundation for industrialization, which President Shehu Shagari put on ground. Today, Shagari was abused. They say he was corrupt. There was nothing that was not said about Shagari in 1983-84. The old man is sitting there looking at all this infrastructure decaying. And Northerners have ruled this country since that time until 1999. What did they do about Ajakuta? What did they do about Zongiru? What did they do about linking the North with railways? What did they do about linking Lagos to the North again, who can go by sea? What did they do about dredging of the Niger? Nothing happened. So for the first time, you have a president from the Niger Delta that is taking on this project. And every day, what you hear is raw politics, rejection. No, I think we are making a grave mistake. We are making a great mistake because this is the opportunity for us to re-examine our past, to re-examine our present, to build partnership, to build new bridges for the unity and development of Nigeria. If you tell a lie to yourself, you will believe in that lie and you will continue until you meet tragedy. This should not be our case. Now, coming back to Kaduna, this tour we have seen, I've just mentioned strategic infrastructure. Now, if you know, Kaduna State is the headquarters of almost every military, the military headquarters of Nigeria. The command and staff college is here. The NDA, the premier university, the military university in West Africa is here. The Air Force Base is here. The police university at Wudil is also here in northern Nigeria, established under Jonathan's administration. You go to Wudil today, the only police university in Nigeria, such as NDA, is in Kano. And people talk about the north. What are we talking about? He didn't put it in Bayelsa. He didn't put it in Lagos. He didn't put it in Onitsha. He put it in Kano. Those ongoing. We saw the drill shell going on in NDA. We went to Kaduna State University. We saw the projects of the state government, several lecture theaters, several laboratories, several projects, including hosted by the private sector. We also saw huge intervention by TED Fund, which is a federal agency, building lecture theaters, building halls. We saw intervention by Petroleum Technology Development Fund, also at Kaduna State University. We went to the Polytechnic. We saw huge projects, federal projects, changing learning equipment, changing workshops with modern equipment, a new electrical department building in that place, undertaken by the federal government. We have not gone to the National Teachers Institute. It was scheduled for us to visit. We can't reach there. We have not gone to the Federal School of Forestry. It's also here. We have not gone. We have not gone to the prison service facilities here. All of them with huge federal efforts. So if we are talking about development, clearly, the North has not had it better under any president than we are having it under Jonathan. It has not. So we need to admit this reality to ourselves so that we can proceed in this politics with conviction rather than propaganda. Now, if you take a look at all the development that we saw in education, in power supply, Kaduna State is having the first thermal power plant in its history from Jonathan government. Yesterday we went to Kudenda. We saw that all the turbines to develop a 250 megawatts power plant here in Kaduna are on ground. They are all on ground. They are being installed now at Kudenda power plant. We also saw a new transmission station there, which will take power to Mando power substation and give Kaduna stable power supply, especially the industrial quarters of Kaduna. That is being done here in Kaduna. The 30 megawatts, the 35 megawatts of hydroelectric power at Gurara completed. They are now to begin the laying of transmission infrastructure, which will take that power from Gurara also to Mando. So Mando will have power from Kudenda, will have power from Gurara, making 245 megawatts of electricity. That is enough for Kaduna, and part of it will be returned to Kano. We are also changing the transmission infrastructure. Part of the problem you had in northern Nigeria is that you have a unilinear line coming from Kanji, Shiroro to the north. So you are cut off from power supply from Tama Station down southeast and south and southeast. What is the president doing? He is laying a new transmission infrastructure all the way from Enugu, from Onitsha, Enugu, through Makodi, Jos, up to Kaduna to link up with Mando, and they are going to complete that early next year. That transmission line will give northern Nigeria a complete hook. So if there is problem with Kanji and Jeba, the north will go blank. There will be darkness. This is what we have experienced all along. But now, if you have problem with Kanji, with Shiroro, with Zungiru, you can also depend on the new thermal power plants we are building in the Niger Delta, because that power is now hooked into complete loop in Mando. So the north is going to have more stable power supply going forward. This is being done also by President Jonathan. Now we also saw the huge complex, the power distribution, Kaduna Distribution Company. The president just completed an edifice that have been hosting reptiles for 18 years here in the city of Kaduna. The president has completed it. We went there yesterday, and it was a beauty to behold, rising on the city of Kaduna. So, in terms of development, I think what we are witnessing today is really momentous, not only for northern Nigeria, but for the country as a whole. Last week, the Minister of Agriculture who has already done away, like my other people who spoke before me told you, who has wiped away the fertilizer scam. Every day people were giving all sorts of fertilizer contract scams. Today it's been wiped off. You now have a new system where fertilizer is coming directly from private suppliers to farmers, and we meet up with the question of subsidy at the point of the supplier. All those false contracts are taken off, and the new fertilizer is of quality. We are also expanding the fertilizer plants. Dangote alone has invested 3.5 billion to build the largest fertilizer plant in Africa. It's going to take off very soon in Ondo State. Now, if you go to former ASCON, they're expanding by about 2 billion extra investment. We're also developing all the petrochemical chain, starting from Ogidingbi right down to the Niger Delta. Our liquefied natural gas project is the best in this continent today, expanding every day, supplying gas to Europe, to Asia, even to parts of the Middle East, earning a lot of money for this country. So I think that what is going on in Nigeria today is a story of two leaders, President Jonathan and Sambo, doing their best to refocus the development of the country. And then there is so raw politics. Raw politics. No. It has to end. Yesterday, I want to mention again the Kaduna Refinery. Kaduna Refining and Petrochemical Company. Now, when we went to Kaduna Refinery, the story that has not been fully told is that for a long time, each time we have a problem with that refinery, we are waiting for Europe to supply parts or nothing. Now, there is the mainstream of the refinery has been shut down for 15 years because of lack of spare parts. What has happened in the refinery is that the indigenous leadership, under the leadership of your own son in Kaduna here, the GMD of NNPC, Andrew Yakubu, because he's from Kaduna. I think he's from Kaduna State. The GMD, with the new indigenous leadership of Kaduna Refinery, have now been able to design here in Kaduna the spare parts that were only supplied from Europe. They designed them, they produced them here, they have restarted the mainstream of Kaduna Refinery with indigenous technology. So today, the refinery is now working almost all our depots in the north, from Gombe to Jos to Suleja, and all the rest here, Guso, those are now started with petrol. 2 million liters per day being processed daily. So the importation is for northern Nigeria is virtually ended. So we are now going to have enough oil from the Kaduna Refinery. If the pipeline integrity is sustained, they can produce more. And they told us that they are going to do a turnaround maintenance soon. When they finish it, that refinery will be earning Nigeria 1 trillion naira per year from refined products. So these are developments that are going on. Now, reality is different from fiction. The reality is different from fiction. The fiction in the north is that President Jonathan, Vice President Sambo are not developing the north. That fiction is weaved by politicians who see nothing other than their own blind ambition and their own need to come to power. When they want to do it, they continue to talk about north, 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 north. When they come to power, you don't hear anything. You don't see anything. Here, the north has gone into partnership, produced a president from the southwest, and produced another president from the south in partnership with the north. Because this president could not have come there without our votes. And today they are giving us even more attention than our sons will do. And that is the reason why I think we need to think again about the way we are going. I see a lot of drama on the stage. A lot of this drama is tragedy. And this is not good for the north. This is not good for Nigeria. We need the unity of this country. Everybody knows. Let me ask you this question. Which of our sons in the north will be elected president and he will spend only one term? Let's be very frank with ourselves. No, this is the time for truth. We elected the president from the southwest in 1999. He finished 2 terms and there were even agitation for a 3rd term. So who in the north today if he came to power elected, he would tell the other part of that you will only stay for 1 term. A president that is not sick, a president that is performing, a president that is delivering development. Who among Northerners, including me, if I'm president, I will not stay 1 term. I will ask for 2nd term unless I'm sick. So all these stories, all these things we are talking about, it's all about interest. And the North is divided. You know, in the North, when people want power, they will use anything. And I keep reminding us, and I want to repeat it here. I say I'm in Kaduna today, and I will speak to the North as well. Apart from Orosi coup, which overthrew, not even Orosi, Kaduna Nzogu coup, unfortunately, which overthrew the Sardona. Which other coup between 1966 and 1999 was staged by Southerners? The one that overthrew Gowon, was it by people from the South? The one that overthrew Motala, was it a Southern coup? Was it a Southern coup? The one that overthrew Shagari, was it a Southern coup? So much about North and development. So if people have interest in power, they will do anything. And we must not abuse the name of the North because this region is too significant to this country. It's too important to Nigeria for us to trivialize development and issues. So I think we need to really reflect seriously about the way our politics is going and develop a platform of partnership with other parts of the country for the unity and development of this country. And this is exactly what I see in what has happened. And we need to work harder in the North. Finally, I can't leave this podium without acknowledging the great memory of the Sardona. Sardona remains a household name all over northern Nigeria. The Sardona of Sokoto. Why was it so? Because he had a program for the development of the North. I can tell you, whoever has a program for development will not engage in politics of division. The Sardona was interested in the transformation of the North. What did he do? He united the whole region under him. There was no Islam, there was no Christianity, there was no tribalism or ethnicity. Everybody was here in Kaduna. He built factories here, he built textiles, hotels here. So he had no time for divisive politics. Today the North is where it is today, shedding our blood every day. We versus we, North versus North. And the money that this government is spending in the North today to fight terror, to fight intra-ethnic conflicts in the North, if you give that money for development in the North, I can tell you that we will develop here at 10% GDP. And all these are our own problems. Develop our own politicians, our own children, creating problems, creating division, creating enmity. I want to thank the governor for the peace in Kaduna. But I can tell you that you need to invest more in the peace in this united city of Sardona, united city of Northerners. Today you come to Kaduna, population is divided into two. It is becoming a mono-Muslim part of Kaduna and a mono-Christian part of Kaduna. This must not happen. If this happens, it will be a sad story for northern Nigeria. We must do everything to integrate our people. We must do everything. We can't live in a divided city. Our people must continue to live together. Muslims and Christians will serve the same God. Nobody has shown me the God for the Christian that is different from the God for the Muslims. Our prophets are the same in the Quran and in the Bible. The same prophets from Abraham right down. The same people, the same story told with different focus. It's the same thing, the same God. One God, one North, one Nigeria. What are we fighting? What is it we are fighting? So we must not, because if Kaduna develops into two cities, that will be a symbolism for the division of the North. So the leadership of this state, the leadership of our communities here in Kaduna, the leadership of our people in the North, we must integrate Kaduna metropolis to be what it used to be before divisive politics set in. Because that will be, for me, the greatest achievement. Finally, we must not take peace for granted. When you say there is peace, you need to invest more. You can see last week, we still had problems in Maiduguri. And I can tell you that as the Supervising Minister of Defense, there is nothing that has taken our resources and time than the problems in the northeast, largely northeast, sometimes northwest. And I say, this terror is not about religion at all. I've not seen it in the Quran, I've not seen it anywhere. It is about, for me, I think it's a state of grace. And today, if it is about religion, the people dying every day, majority of them are Muslims. Emir of Kano, the leader of Muslims in Kano, was attacked. Shehu of Borno, the leader of Muslims in Borno, was attacked. So, if Borno is the headquarters of the Lake Chad Basin, Lake Chad region, old Kano Borno Empire, uniting people to South Sudan, western, southern Niger, northern Cameroon, and part of northern Nigeria. United place. Our politics is dividing it. So you attack Kano, the economic headquarters of northern Nigeria. So how does he help the north? We must stand up as one person to support the federal effort to bring peace to the north, because in the end, peace is the only guarantee for our future. Without peace, our children have no future. The rest of the country is growing at over 7%. The north is lagging behind because of our own problems that we have created for ourselves. We need to move forward. We need to cooperate across states, across boundaries, to give the north peace. Kaduna invests more in peace and integration, and you will never lose. Let me respond to the issue raised by my brother Mahmoud. Yes, managing information is the most difficult job in any government, and we are doing our best. What we need, we are doing more, and we hope that we will get more resources to advertise, because the only way that you can really penetrate most of the media now is to put adverts, which you will pay for every page. Journalism is not that, because there is so much partisanship, and that is why we even embark on the physical inspection of projects. People, because of the denial, as Minister of Information, I'm not supposed to go out to follow the road to show you this. It's because of the cynicism, the lie, the rejection of the government and what it is doing. People don't want to see. That's why we're going physically to carry the media everywhere and put it in social media, put it everywhere so that people can see. What I've seen is that, and I brought Mahmoud on this program for the first time, because sometimes we are so used to criticism that we are not ready to see beyond that prison. And I'll bring more and more of everyone disagreeing onto this program, so that we can sit together, we can believe together, and we can develop ways of selling it's the responsibility of all of us to say what our government is doing. I will provide more leadership, and I will do more, because that's why I brought you here, so that we can see. I assure you that what we have done in the information ministry in the last 2 years is something very novel. New projects. We speak on radio almost every week, 30 minutes. I go on network, I go on television. We move weekly. We will do adverts. The only way to do it now is to place commercial adverts, which is not what government should do, because journalism has a duty to report government. And we will work harder with stakeholders to improve on what we are doing. Let me thank you, and we wish Kaduna further peace. We wish Northern Nigeria peace, integration, harmony, and development. Thank you.